watered down episode of We Only Look Thin.
Watered down.
I am internet tastemaker Catherine Weigel, and with me today is social media influencer
Donald Weigel. I'm sitting here influencing media through socialness or something.
That's what our business cards say.
I don't even know how to do my own job.
You know what? If we say we're influencers, not that we should be inspiring, but we are inspiring. We are going from the passive voice, I should be inspiring, to the active voice.
Yeah,
I am
we
inspiring.
are inspiring, yes.
We're starting it out at the end.
Yes, I am going to inspire because I am inspiring.
And that we're going to talk about that today and being and having habits and putting things in place.
Yeah.
But first we're going to start with a tip of the week.
Tao!
Then we're going to talk about stopping planning habits and starting doing habits.
Yeah.
It rolls off the tongue.
We're going to turn you into Action Jackson.
We are. And then we will finish off with a product of the week. Pow!
Pow, everybody. Product
Which is
of the
kind
week.
of why this episode is watered down. But
yeah.
You'll just have to wonder what the heck I'm talking about. Just like every other episode.
We're going to get there.
So how are you doing?
I'm fine. I wasn't expecting that question.
We're riffing. We're people. We just talk about things.
We just talk. We don't ask each other how we're doing until we're on microphones.
We can skip finding out about how you're doing.
I'm doing fine. I had a little bit of a rough few days at work. I worked 2 all nights in a row. We were shooting night exteriors, and that means filming outside at night. And it was really cold here for Los Angeles. It actually did touch around 40 degrees on the second night. And I ended up soothing myself with lots of food.
That's a habit.
Yeah. It wasn't my finest hour.
#relatable.
Not my finest hour. But I'm feeling good today. Back on it. Stayed my calories yesterday. So far, so good today.
Very nice.
And now we're going to talk about some stuff.
Yeah, we're going to talk about stuff. So we will talk first about the tip of the week.
Tao!
Tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you, darling.
So the tip of this week is put it in the trunk.
Get some junk in your trunk. That's what we're saying.
So the tip is do not keep tempting food in the cabin of your vehicle with you.
Yeah.
I used to grab food, groceries, takeout. And I would say, I will not eat this until I get home, most definitely. I am not putting it at arm's reach, most definitely. And then I would generally eat the takeout or something strategically placed at the top of my grocery bag. Like, the Lay's potato chips at the top.
I put it right here in the passenger seat.
No one can eat just
easily,
one.
Reach it. Yeah, exactly.
Let's
say you're in charge of buying bagels for the office or donuts.
Don't you look at me like that. That was me. Let's call her Catherine.
Who assigned you being in charge of those bagels?
Me.
Oh, yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
So
I thought so.
So if you are in a situation where you have your bagels, your donuts, your pizza, any kind of grab snack, put it in the trunk for the drive home. Do not
put it
say
somewhere you cannot reach it.
Well, and I know people who have said like, oh, I packed my lunch for work today and I ate it on the way to work. I am confident that I have done that also.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you have trouble with controlling your impulses like we are and have been, put it in the trunk. That's what the trunk's there for.
It is specifically there to hide food from you.
They should call it the food hider.
When Henry Ford invented the trunk, that was the reason.
Where am I going to put my takeout pizza pie and my Panda Express, he said to himself.
Yeah, keep it out of reach of yourself while you're driving.
Yeah, so that's it. You know what we're talking about. Put it in the trunk.
And that's your tip of the week.
Tao!
Tip of the week to you,
darling. Tip of the week to you. I feel like we did good with that tip of the week. It was short, and now I'm keeping on talking about it. So we are going to talk about something we've talked about many times. Like, there should be no surprise that we talk about habits.
Yeah.
And the having of them.
We're both reading a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And
we're pretty sure he stole all of our content. Like, I'm not naming names or pointing fingers, or can you plagiarize?
Okay, first of all, the book is fantastic.
It's fantastic.
And well, I say that having not finished it yet. I think I'm like 2/3 of the way through, but so far it's fantastic. And but a lot of it is he's taken things we've been talking about on this podcast for the last year, and I know he didn't actually steal them from us, but it feels like we've done episodes on, like, there are chapters where we've done episodes on the exact same things. But he took the extra step of actually writing a book about it.
Passively, I've probably in the last 3 years said, like, I should write a book about that jerk went and wrote a book.
Yeah.
He actively wrote a book.
He actually did it. Instead of just talking about how he should have done it.
Nice.
He actually did it. And it basically creates a plan for implementing all of the habits that we always tell ourselves we should be doing.
But I'm a wild child. I'm a free spirit. I don't want plans, man.
Yeah. That's what
Said me never.
Yeah.
If I tell anyone I am a wild child, that is not me.
Yeah, that's just like if
I'm
you,
pretty much a Vulcan.
If you ever say you like, what did you say last
Stevie
episode?
Nicks.
If you ever like boho chic,
or patchouli,
that you would never. I know that the aliens have taken over.
Anyway, so
we just saw Captain Marvel and like the Skrulls like take over personalities. Like if I would know you were a Skrull if
I don't want no Skrull.
Yeah.
A Skrull is someone who, I'm not going to try to rap right now, but
I like it.
But and I have done this too. Think about your passive voice. I should lose weight. I should meal prep. I should go to bed earlier. What kind of shoulds do you should every day?
Yeah, we talk about generalities like I should read more. I should, in case of, relevant to this podcast, I should lose some weight. I should really eat more vegetables. I should really get more exercise. And we say these things, and I think that we say them in order to make ourselves feel better. And sometimes I used to say things like that, but so that other people couldn't point them out to me. When I was 100 pounds heavier than this, I would all the time just slip in like, oh boy, I really should stop eating so much of X, Y, or Z food. I really should get more exercise. And I would say it out loud so that people couldn't say it for me. But I never really had an actual plan to make it happen. I would just talk in these generalities.
I have 2 amazing quotes for you.
Oh, I can't wait to hear them.
The first is by internet tastemaker Donald Weigel.
Oh.
If you fail to plan, you don't have a plan. Or,
I did say that.
As James Clear more specifically said in his Must Be Nice book, when your dreams are vague, it's easy to rationalize little exceptions all day long and never get around to the specific things you need to do to succeed.
Boom.
Which is the same as, if you fail to plan, you don't have a plan. So basically, Donald is a New York Times best-selling author.
Yeah, basically.
But that idea of we say we want to do things and then we don't actually implement the tools that we will need to do to achieve those goals. And I did that for years. And I'm sure many of you in the listening audience have a plan to plan. The lead up, the planning committee to plan, and you don't get around to the action. And I do this a lot. I think to myself, oh boy, I really want to, get in more floors or stairs in my day. Like, I should really do that. Yeah, you know what? I really should. But changing the language, and we've talked about this before, changing it from I should do something to an active voice that's passive, taking it to an active voice. I am doing X. I am doing Y. I am planning my meals. I am getting in stairs. But there's a leap between passive and active.
Yeah.
And we're going to take a big leaping into telling you maybe what you can do to leap.
And oftentimes we say things like, we should do this, we should do that. And then sometimes we might even go a step farther and we start researching these things. And
so much research.
We tend to, all of this researching makes us feel like we're getting somewhere. We seek out the best diet plans. We look for people who have been on a specific plan and lost weight, and we try and figure out if it's the right plan for us.
Well, and I think many of us have doctorates in planning to plan to plan. Like, I have done many weight loss methods. I have read many books. I did Weight Watchers 20 times. I tried all these different plans. And it's the we get lost in getting the PhD, getting the next degree, and thinking that we'll have that lightning bolt moment where suddenly everything is fluid. Like, we know people who actually are like career people who go to school to get additional degrees who don't actually have real jobs because they want to keep avoiding actual real life. And that planning phase can only take you so far. It can only, like, you can get as much knowledge, you can be book smart, but until you get street smart like us. No, but like
no one's ever accused us of being street smart.
No, we are not street smart. But like, I took biology in college, and we had lecture part, which is the learning, and then we had the doing part, which was the practicums, where we would actually have to go into the labs and do things.
Yeah.
And until you apply what you are learning, it's not doing anybody any good.
Yeah, I mean, I've been guilty of it. I'll be like, okay, so I want to tone my abs. What are the best exercises for toning abs? And then I get online and I look at various exercises, and here's somebody who's saying that this exercise actually didn't work for them, and they pulled a muscle doing it. So maybe I
Donald
do
actually
that one.
just looked at the Blogilates 100-day ab challenge, which is 100 different exercises, or 100 different reps of exercises. And Donald said to himself, there is no way that people made that much progress in 1 month.
Yeah, there are photos on there about before and after photos, and it seemed like people didn't. It seemed like people had way too dramatic of results for 30 days.
And do you remember what I said to you?
No.
Maybe you should give it a try in 30 days and see how it is,
yeah,
you naysayer.
True. That's true.
So Donald was exploring the internet and not doing it. So let's get active.
Yeah, and we'll do things like research the healthy snacks, and it makes us feel better. If it makes us feel like we're doing making progress, but we're not actually doing anything. We're just planning to do something.
Well, and two, I mean, and Donald made the analogy of like, what movie or book have you read where people were like, I just sat and I didn't go on the adventure and I'm sitting here and the end? Like, nobody.
Yeah. Like when Hans Gruber attacked Nokatami Plaza and, Bruce Willis was trapped in there in Die Hard, he didn't just say, boy, I really should probably go stop these terrorists. I'll just check my Facebook page.
Yeah. And like Frodo didn't, like, when he was asked by Gandalf to go on an adventure, he didn't say, hard pass, I'm playing Candy Crush. Like, I'll just sit here. Like, that's not what Lord of the Rings is about.
I really should take this ring to Mount Doom and throw it into the fires, but I'll figure it out at some future date.
Well, and in the real world, and I've said this to our daughter, actually, because I make wonderful analogies. The idea of someone successful, someone that you see who has made progress, or someone who is an elite athlete, they didn't become an elite athlete by like waiting to maybe get athletic. Like, they had a plan in place, they got it done. Like, Michael Phelps could be the best swimmer in the entire world. If he doesn't get in the pool, it does not matter. Like, you could guess or postulate about being great at something, but until you actually start doing it and coming up with a plan, like, you don't think Michael Phelps is like, well, you know what, I don't know, I'm just going to swim whenever I feel like it. Like, I don't know, I'll work it into my day. Like, but first I
really should become an Olympic swimmer, he says to himself. And then he researches the best ways, the best techniques for swimming. But
like 10 years, and then he's like, I'm ready. I'm in the pool. Like, I'm going to do it. But he actually probably had a plan. I've done no research on Mr. Michael Phelps, but I'm pretty sure I've seen, montages of activity.
So one of the stumbling blocks to actually putting a plan in action is that we think that we need these big sweeping changes in our lives. We always think, and I've said it on this podcast 100 times, we think, well, in order to lose weight, I have to adopt a radical diet plan. I've got to cut my calories down to 1,100 a day.
Cutting out white food.
I've got to join a gym, and I've got to find a personal trainer, and I've got to work out for 2 hours a day for 6 days a week, or else I'm not really working out. I have to go from nothing to being a runner, like, overnight, or I'm not actually going to accomplish anything. I'm not doing anything. And what we have been saying on this podcast for a long time, and what Mr. James Clear says in his book Atomic Habits, is it is the tiny habits building upon one another that actually get you there. That if you build sustainable habits, do things that you can actually do over and over again over time, and eventually they snowball into real results.
Well, and I think we also aim too high when we set a goal for ourselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And it makes it undesirable because it's too much at once. Whether you go from couch to 5K and you think it's too much effort, we feel like failures when we're not able to keep up with an activity, or we're not, the couch to 5K program says I should be able to do, to run for 2 minutes straight, and I can't do it. And we feel like we're not being compliant with this lofty goal. And so we don't even bother trying. But what Mr. Clear, I hate it like when people do like Jim. Well, when Jim Clear says, Jim, our good friend Jim.
Yeah.
Just the first name basis. Breaking things down into their smallest part makes it easier to achieve a goal.
Yeah, an example he uses in the book is that people will tell themselves, I need to do 100, sit-ups a day. And then maybe, we have an episode of this show called Coming in Hot. And we talk about how when you get started, you might be motivated enough to do that for the first few days. But then the reality sets in of doing 100 of those every day is too much for most people. And eventually it gets too excruciating and you just quit.
Right. Or it's too much time, or you have friends over for the weekend and you can't get it done. And so we stumble. But having a habit that is so small that you can't help but reach the goal.
Yeah, break it down into its smallest form. Like if you want to do 100 sit-ups in a day, how about instead you start just doing one? Like you can do one. You have to do it every day.
Well, and two, there was someone in our group recently who was talking about being able to go to college and take classes and studying for classes, but she's not motivated, so she studies for a half hour at night, but she doesn't give herself a half hour to practice self-care or meal prep. And if 30 minutes is too much of a time commitment, you can start with 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you can do it while you're brewing coffee or making your tea and waiting for it to steep. It doesn't have to be, like Donald said, a big, lofty goal. You can start really small and then build up the momentum over time. So
we are here to tell you how to actually get going. And we are going to introduce you to the We Only Look Thin 3 W's.
The W.
www.weonlylookthin.com.
Yeah, that's not the right W.
No.
No, the 3 W's that we are going to throw your way are...
What, where, and when.
So the 3 W's will take you far in actually putting a passive thought into action.
So the what is identify a habit that you want to start. No matter where you are on your fitness journey / adventure, or journey venture, if you will, pick a habit. If you've been saying to yourself, I want to eat more fresh vegetables. If you've been saying to yourself, I want to walk more. I want to rebound more. I want to meal prep more. Like pick something and decide what that habit is going to be. And don't spend a lot of time researching it. It doesn't have to be a life-changing habit. It doesn't have to be an all-encompassing sweeping change. Just something small that you know you can accomplish, but that you've been saying to yourself that you want to do.
Right. So taking it from the passive voice, like for me, I mentioned doing stairs. So Donald has been doing many floors, many flights for a very long time. We've talked about that. And I must be nice him. And his legs look very, very nice.
Why, thank you.
You're welcome. No, thank you. But I kept thinking, I really should do stairs. I should do stairs. And then taking that to, I want to do stairs. Like I actually want the result that Donald is getting. And then saying, I am going to do stairs. That's still the planning. Like there's no actual plan in place. But then changing the language to, I am doing the stairs. And getting the what, when, where. What, I want to do the stairs. which is fine. But if I don't have a plan to get it done, it doesn't matter that I have a good idea. It's actually implementing the idea.
So the second part is figuring out where you're going to do it or when. One of the other two W's.
Right.
But you've got to bring it into a concrete place and time.
And if you leave it to chance, it's not going to happen. If you think that, you'll just feel like doing the stairs at some point, like for me, I was like, it's too hard. It's
Yeah, you can't be so general as to say like I'm gonna do 20 flights of stairs every day. Okay, great. But then a day goes by and you're like, oh, wait, I was supposed to do 20 flights of stairs today, but I didn't really do it.
Well, and if you live somewhere very flat, and you don't have stairs nearby, the likelihood that you will achieve that goal is probably pretty low if you don't have a plan. Luckily, we have stairs, so I can do stairs. Donald did them for months and months before, and I just must be nice to him through the window.
Yeah, I just use the building, or I've been in the building that we live in, or I do them at work, and I created an action plan. When I got to the building I'm in now, I changed. Because I work on TV shows and movies, I change jobs every like 6 or 8 months. When I got into the building that I'm in now, I said to myself, oh, there is a men's restroom on the floor I'm on, but there's also one up on the 4th floor of this building. So every time I need to go to the restroom, I am going to walk up to the 4th floor and go up there so that I get the stairs.
He is an action hero, I might say. But
and because I drink so many beverages, I go up there a lot.
Hydration.
Yeah, so getting my 40 floors, and it's just the same thing with parking on the top floor of the parking garage at work. I know I'm going to get those floors when I leave work. I'm going to have to walk up to the top. So I made a plan. Every time I need to go to the restroom, I paired it with that particular habit, so to speak, and I know I'm going to have to get floors that way.
So for me, I do not have flights of stairs at work. I work from home. But for me, I had to decide in a very small sense. Donald was getting 40, 50 floors a day. It is unrealistic for me from going to 1 to 2 floors a day to getting 40. So I decided I would start with a minimum. I leveled up, as we talked about earlier, and I decided I would work for 10 floors. If that sounds like too much for you, do 5.
Do 5. Do 2. Do 3.
There's nothing magical. Like, it's not like I, magically go to the next level in a video game if I do 10 floors. But it was just something that I thought was reasonable.
If you're doing 1 right now and that is a huge struggle, like, do 1. Like, that is enough to start.
So I decided on 10. That is my what. My when was 6:45 in the morning. Yes, that is very specific. We rebound or walk in the morning. It's just about the time that our daughter gets up. Yeah. So while she is getting ready in the morning, I could sit on the couch and play Candy Crush, or I could go get stairs. And so I started getting my 10 floors. I'd listen to a podcast or music while I was doing it. And another interesting thing that I did with it is I actually timed it. Because I was like, 10 floors is so much. It's going to take forever.
Yeah.
It was like 4 minutes. Like one long song and it's done. And you think it's going to take a really long time to get something done before you've done it. And then the stopwatch was like, oh, that really is not very much part of my day. Like, I can totally get that done.
Yeah, and James Clear suggests that when you start a new habit, it should really take 2 minutes. Like, it should literally take 2 minutes.
I'm not that fast.
Yeah.
No, but so I could have done that in, 5 floors or 3 floors.
And I'm not even saying, I'm not saying it has to be 2 minutes, but, something that's not going to take you very long. But you have to take it from an abstract, I really should, I should strength train. Well, how about, you say to yourself, okay, right before lunch every day, I'm going to do 1 push-up right next to my desk. That is a what, a where, and a when. And you've got to say it out loud, and you've got to mean it. But that is something that you can actually do and implement every day right before lunch, I'm going to do one push-up right next to my desk.
Well, and having it make sense, having the convenience of convenience, I think is a really huge thing when it comes to goals. And being in a position where, like, there was a long time ago, there was a flight of stairs in Santa Monica that was like a big place where people went to go work out. But it would take me 40 minutes to drive there and then park and then do the stairs and then go. But I had stairs right in our building, and I never used them because it was like, oh, I can't do stairs now.
And there were people who were just like running up these things backward and
carrying 50-pound weights.
Yeah, just walking up one time just made me feel terrible, and it really wasn't the inspiring like exercise, Rocky running up the stairs in Philadelphia moment that I was thinking it would be.
Well, and with convenience too, having the time and the place make sense for you. Like, you're not going to be driving to work going, you know what, this is a great time to floss. Like, you floss in the bathroom at night before you go to bed. Like, there's a specific time people do that. They don't just do it like while they're grocery shopping. And if you look at it that way, like, when does it make sense to exercise? Are you a morning person or a night person? Like, how can you make it easy to get to your goal?
So we're going to give you a little bit of homework this week. And the homework is to turn an idea, turn an abstract thought, something that you've been thinking that you should do, turn it into an actual action plan. Actually make it work. As soon as you're done listening to this episode, sit down and think to yourself, okay, I've been telling myself I should be meal prepping. So planning all my meals for the week seems like it's too much work. How about I just start by prepping one meal a week? And I'm going to do that when? I'm going to do it on Sunday. I'm going to do it right after my morning coffee on Sunday. Every Sunday, I'm going to make one meal. I'm just going to start by boiling some eggs. How about? So that I will have a protein-ready, easy snack or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think, and I mean, it's a whole other episode about meal prepping. I don't really meal prep, but yesterday I made 4 frozen turkey burgers all at once. I was already making a turkey burger. Why not make the whole package? You're getting it done. That's meal prep. Boom.
That's like a bonus tip of the week. But it doesn't have to be that. It could be anything. It could be like, I should be getting more walking in. Well, how about you say to yourself, like, right before lunch every day or right after my morning coffee, Monday through Friday. Right after I do, like, something that you're already doing every day, you say to yourself, I'm going to go get a 5-minute walk. Like, I'm going to do it in the courtyard of my work building or wherever. But, pick a time, a what, and a place that makes sense for you.
Well, I did that. I've talked about it before in this episode, that I would pair getting in 5 minutes of walking while I was at work. Our secretary would go for her smoking break. She would go down the elevator to go outside to smoke. I would take the stairs down. I'd walk around the building and get back up to my desk before she even got back from her smoking break. And and that was my trigger. Like, oh, she's gone. Like, so I kind of gamified it. Yeah. But make it
time your habit to somebody else's smoking addiction. But seriously, like, make it make sense for you. If you're like, I should really be eating more vegetables, and take that from a should to I am going to eat more vegetables, and figure out the way that you're going to make that easy for yourself. I'm going to buy the pre-chopped, microwave in the bag broccoli, and I am going to do that every day at 2 o'clock, or every day at dinner, or every day in the morning, so that it's ready for me to eat right when I start my lunch. But pick a time and a place and a what that you're going to do. A WWW. I keep saying time instead of a when.
Well, and 2, I think we have high ideas, like Donald said, about big sweeping actions that can make change. If in your perfect fantasy life, you go to the farmer's co-op and hand pick the cauliflower and like it's a 20-minute drive, like that's not realistic. Yeah. Like for your lifestyle, the way it is right now, or for my lifestyle, I go to Trader Joe's, I get pre-bagged, pre-washed, pre-cut cauliflower, and I microwave it. Like, that's what I'm capable of doing right now. So instead of looking at lofty, big goals for your fantasy self.
Yeah, your fantasy self doesn't have to be Forrest Gump. You don't have to be Habit Gump, who, like, suddenly he starts running and then ends up
and
running.
Never stops.
Yeah, never stops, runs entire way across America and, is involved in every major event of the 1970s. And, like things like that have seep into your brain, and it makes you think you have to make these giant gestures to get something done.
No, start with one.
Start with a 5-minute walk. Start with something that you can handle. And guess what? Once that becomes a habit, once you do it all the time, you can add another habit. You can pair something else with that habit and just build on those habits until finally you've hit your goal weight, or finally you're achieving all of the things that you've wanted to do.
Well, and so, as Don said with the homework, take a should that you have, not, a giant should, but a medium-sized should, and take it from a passive voice to the active voice. Take the what, when, and where, and start writing down some things, and actually writing it down. You can think about things forever, but writing something down can really help you make it.
Write it down and say it out loud. I am going to do this at this time, at this place.
Yeah. So what have you done? You have listened to a very inspiring podcast.
Yes. And we are going to take you can be the action hero you've always dreamt of being.
Exactly. When? Right now. And where? In your ears. Yes. Or we're in your ears, or something like that. But
all of those things.
All of those things are
all
true.
All those WWWs are true.
Yeah. So now we're going to take you over to the product of the week.
Pow, everybody! Product of the week.
This is where Watered Down comes in.
Yeah.
We're all looking for.
We're bringing it back around to the opening.
Yeah. So the product of the week is Crystal Light.
What year is this?
I believe in Crystal Light because I believe in me. If you can mention Die Hard, I can mention Crystal Light.
Is this the 1980s?
It is. I'm jazzercising as I'm drinking it.
Excellent.
No, but we talk about getting water into your habit, and sometimes it's hard. It's cold out right now. It's wintertime. It's hard to drink lots of water, but you know what is delicious and refreshing? Crystal Light.
Crystal Light.
So light, so refreshing. I am always looking for new ways to trick myself into making good choices, and I just bought some Crystal Light yesterday, and it actually helped me drink more water. So it comes now, which I did not try, in caffeinated form also.
Wow.
Little pouches, so you can
get a
just...
little more bang for your buck.
A little bang for your buck.
There's
you can
also
just do
Mio.
it like Fun Dip. You can just like...
Oh, yeah. Perfect. What are you going to dip in it? Pretzel sticks?
No, my finger probably.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
But yeah, there's Mio, there's Dasani has their own flavored water.
Yeah, I mean, and the idea here is that if you really are having trouble getting your water in, add a little flavor to it.
Add a little flavor.
Without a lot of calories.
Well, and I usually do like lemon water. People do infused water. There's so many different ways to get in water. No shade, no shame on any of them. But if you forgot about the 1980s, Crystal Light is still a thing.
Yeah.
Unlike Tab.
A tasty, tasty thing.
Unlike Steakums. That was something else from the 80s.
Yeah.
Don't put Steakums in your water.
Do not eat Steakums water.
Yeah,
that does
gross.
not sound good.
Anyway, so yeah, Crystal Light, believe in yourself, believe in me.
Is that the slogan, really?
Believe in Crystal Light, 'cause I believe in me.
Whoa.
I think.
That's a heck of a song.
If you know how to sing the Crystal Light song, let us know.
I'm going to head to YouTube as soon as we finish recording this and try and find that.
Yeah, so the tip of the week was put your junk in the trunk. And then we talked about habits and taking them from the passive voice to the active voice.
And becoming an action hero in your own life.
Yeah, and then we talked about Crystal Light.
The product of the week. Pow!
Pow!
And that was this week's episode.
That was. Yay, we did it.
And if you'd like to take some action and get some more of us, you can find us at weonlylookthin.com.
I should leave them a review.
Oh, yeah.
I am leaving them a review.
I am leaving them a review, which you can do on iTunes. That would really help us out.
I am following them on Instagram at weonlylookthin.
I am following them on Twitter at weonlylookthin.
I am following them and liking them on Facebook.
I am listening to this and subscribing to it wherever I listened to it and found it in the first place.
I am emailing. Oh, this bit is getting hard to say.
Yeah.
Email us at weonlylookthin@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook. We're not being funny. You can actually find us there. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter. So yeah.
Yes, indeed. And when the alien invasion starts and you think to yourself, I really should help out with that, but I'm going to go play Candy Crush instead. Just remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration.
Asian.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.